Bruchim habayim, welcome. I'm Rabbi Jonathan Blake. I'm grateful that we have been brought here in the strength of our song, our solidarity, our love, by the cantors of Westchester Reformed Temple, our senior cantor Amanda Kleinman, our associate cantor Danielle Rodnitsky, and assistant cantor Isaac Sonnet Asor. We'll be hearing many more voices of cantors and rabbis, elected officials, and those whose words on behalf of our people and all good people everywhere will lift our hearts, will stir our souls, will bring us together in a spirit of love and commitment to action. Ein shalem kalev shavur. These are words of the great Polish Hasidic rabbi, the Kotzker Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk. Ein shalem, nothing is as whole, kalev shavur, like a broken heart. We are whole because we are united in our brokenheartedness. Every heart in this room, the hearts of all good people across the world, the hearts of people who love and care about humanity, who care about Israel, who care about the Jewish people, who care about decency, who care about what is right, their hearts are broken with ours. And nothing is as whole as a broken heart. If you look to your right and left, you'll see the eyes of somebody else with a broken heart. If you turn around, you may have the chance to greet somebody, someone with a broken heart whose name you don't yet know. But because this is a prayer service tonight, and we are here as one community united in our prayer, would you please take just one moment and greet the people around you, especially the ones you don't know. Introduce yourselves. My friends, we are grateful to come together representing multiple congregations of the Jewish communities of Westchester. We have many partners from other faith communities with us tonight, clergy leaders both from the Jewish community of Westchester and from our friends and neighbors in the multi-faith community of Westchester. We are so grateful that you are with us tonight. At the very heart of this week's parasha, the Torah portion that begins the Torah, Parashat Bereshit, the first words of the Torah read this week, is the first murder. Cain slays his innocent brother Abel. He takes him into a field and murders him in cold blood. And God responds, Me asita, what have you done? Kol demei achicha tzoakim elai min ha'adama. Your brother's blood is screaming at me from the ground. Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. The rabbis observed that the word for blood is, perhaps unusually, pluralized. It is not your brother's blood, but rather your brother's bloods. Rashi, the greatest of all Torah commentators, said this is because in the murder of Abel, not only was one man slain, but all of Abel's future descendants, that in taking one life, a world was destroyed. Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Westchester community, the blood of our brothers and sisters is crying out to us from the ground. Let us be unwavering in our resolve. Let us carry our broken hearts, but remember that our spirits are not broken. There is to be no equivocating on the morality of what has happened to us and what must now be done. The blood of our brothers, the bloods of our people, the blood that has been spilled of God's children cries out to us, and we will respond. We are grateful to hear this evening from members of our community. I'd like to welcome to the Bima Justin Arist, who is the mayor of Scarsdale. Anyone who's speaking tonight, by the way, use the center microphone. Thanks. Welcome.
Good evening. Tonight I stand before you not just as the mayor of Scarsdale and a representative of the Board of Trustees, but also as a proud Jewish American and a congregant of this temple. The unsettling events unfolding in Israel are not just a distant concern. They reverberate through Jewish communities worldwide, including right here in Scarsdale. Many of us have close bonds to Israel, and our thoughts and prayers are with those living under the constant threat of terror. We extend our deepest sympathies to the families who have suffered unimaginable losses. Our community is known for its resilience and unity in tough times. It has always been a beacon of compassion and tolerance. The village of Scarsdale stands in solidarity with the Jewish community and Israel during this tumultuous and frightening time. Now more than ever, we need our national leaders to offer unwavering support to Israel. This isn't just a Jewish issue, it's a human issue. We must all stand united against the forces of hatred and terror. Rejecting false moral equivalencies isn't just important, it's imperative. We have a collective responsibility to hold our elected officials accountable, ensuring they champion the causes of peace and justice. Together, let's not only hope for a peaceful future for Israel Jews and the world at large, let's direct our support and resources to ensure it happens. Thank you.
We want to welcome to the Bima New York State Senator Shelley Mayer.
For giving me the privilege of being here tonight. It is a privilege that we as Americans can be here in safety and in peace. But we have an obligation, and not just as Jewish Americans. We have an obligation as Americans to do the right thing, sometimes to do the hard thing, which is to stand by Israel and stand up for Israel, regardless of our personal faith, regardless of our personal politics, regardless of where we live, who we voted for. Now we have to do the right thing, and we have to do it as Americans, and we have to do it with strength and fortitude. And we can't get tired, and we can't get bored, and we can't get diverted, and we can't get divided. This is a moment where we put politics aside, as they did in Israel today by forming a unity government. People who fought each other. If they can do it, we can do it. And we are in it for the long haul. This is not a short war. This is not a short fight. This is a fight for right, for decency, for humanity, and it is our obligation as the most fortunate people to be in this country that allows democracy to stand up by and for Israel, to not back down, to not get tired, and to make this our collective fight. We will win if we stay united and we stay determined, and I'm confident that's the case. Thank you.
Erev Tov, everyone. Good evening. I'm Josh Strom. I'm the rabbi at Congregation B'nai Israel in Armonk. It's my honor this evening to introduce Shachar Liran Hanan. I didn't do very well in Talmud, but one term I remember is kal vachomer, which, at least the way I understand it, is kind of like all the more so. If something is true in this one circumstance, kal vachomer all the more so in this circumstance over here. Shachar Liran Hanan, our incredible, wonderful Westchester shlicha, has been with us for 3 years now. She has brought Israel and her entire being, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and served all of us, our congregations, our clergy, our educators, all of our people in this community and beyond, warmly, meaningfully, and admirably, because she views her shlichut, her service, as sacred and holy work, which it most certainly is. But this is not what Shachar signed up for. To be here thousands of miles from home, where unfathomable terror has struck her family, her friends, her homeland, is so beyond anything she ever imagined, a truly hellish situation. And yet, if her work had been sacred and holy already, if it had already been meaningful and of foundational significance to our community, which it is and it has been, kal vachomer, all the more so right now. Even as Shachar balances so delicately her role as mother and wife, as a proud Israeli struggling personally, intensely with the violence and loss and destruction, Shachar has leaned in, even more so, more than I'm guessing even she ever imagined, to help serve all of us and, more accurately, take care of us. Broken and reeling as I know every Israeli and we all are in our own ways, Shachar continues to find even more meaning, connection, fulfillment, and ultimately, we pray, healing in speaking at gatherings like ours this evening. It is my true honor and privilege, in every sense of the words, both professionally and personally, to introduce our incredible, indefatigable, and inspirational Westchester Shlicha, Shachar Liran Hanan.
Good evening. One of my best friends, Yoni, lives in Tiva Asara. Tiva Asara is a town on the northern border of the Gaza Strip, about 1.5 miles from the Palestinian towns of Bet Hanun and Bet Lahia. Beautiful place, surrounded by sand dunes, overseeing the Mediterranean Sea, and filled with incredible people. Yoni's father, Shaike, grows tomatoes, some of the best tomatoes I've ever eaten. I've spent many days in Tiva Asara, together with Yoni and her community of less than 1,000 people. Some of you might have heard or even been to Tiva Asara, because the people of Tiva Asara started this incredible initiative on the wall that's supposed to protect them from the rockets and mortar shells that had been thrown over to the town from Gaza. They decided to cover it with a mosaic for peace. There are so many peace activists in this tiny town. Five days ago, terrorists had flown over that barrier into Tiva Asara, going from house to house, slaughtering anyone that dared step out of their home and trying to protect their dear ones. They burned down houses with everyone in them burned alive. I've always believed in peace, found many partners in Tiva Asara. These are one of the foundational values that I've been brought up on by 8 generations of my family that built this country and fought for it more than once. To make sure that we will have a safe place for us to live in, a place that we can be proud of. My grandfather, Yoav, used to tell my mom that by the time that she'll grow up, she won't have to go to the army. she did. And she promised us the same thing. And we did too. My brother was just called on reserve, leaving his wife and 3 kids back at home in Kfar Saba. His wife begged him not to go. But when we are called for duty, this is what we do. I'm now carrying my first boy after 2 beautiful girls. And every Israeli mother knows, while carrying a boy, she knows that one day she'll have to send him to get on IDF uniform and fight for the safety of our people in our country. Mothers who are lying over their babies so nobody will hear the sound of their cry. Young men and women hiding under the thin bushes of the Negev, playing dead. Men who are facing murders with their bare hands, trying to use everything within reach to protect their loved ones. Entire families who are slaughtered in their home. Twin babies left alone in a destroyed home, crying for 16 hours, while their parents are lying right next to them, dead. Does this image sound familiar to you? The last 5 days were just an utter nightmare, and a horror that we could have never imagined would ever happen, not even in our wildest dreams. More than 1,200 people had been murdered, over 1,000 civilians, over 40 babies, and at least 150 were kidnapped in one day. This was not an attack. This is a massacre. And these numbers are shocking by itself, but they are not even final. Our forces are still scanning the region, going town after town, searching for more and more bodies, entering house after house, not sure whether they rather find bodies or call another person missing, kidnapped. In a small country like ours, these are not just numbers. For me, these are names of people who used to be part of my life and are no longer. Of my childhood friend, of my college friend, of my neighbor, my sister's close friend, my army commander, as of 2 hours, another friend. I've lost people in my life through wars, operations, waves of terror. The last 5 days, the number was doubled. And just like me, many other Israelis, including my team of shlichim here with me in Westchester, and probably many of you in this room, a crisis like this touches every single one of us, so close, so deep, so painful. But not just us. After being here in Westchester for just over 2 years, I know how much Israel is a part of your heart. Many of you have kids in the army, friends and family across Israel, sweet memories from your trip to Israel, or just a deep sense of belonging to the country that always had and forever will be the home of the Jewish people. The place where we could finally find refuge, feel safe and proud to be who we are. Can we imagine what would happen if we want to be safe in our own home? If we won't be safe in our own country, Israel, the Jewish people will have no future. History had taught us that we don't have the privilege of living as individuals. We're a nation with a shared destiny and therefore a shared responsibility for each other. Kol Israel arevim ze lazo. All of Israel are responsible for each other. But now more than ever, we need you by our side. We need your thoughts and prayers, your support in every possible way, and your proud stand for Israel, here and everywhere else you go. This is not another episode in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This is not another war or an operation. This is an extreme humanitarian crisis of women, children, and babies held hostage in the most unsafe place in the entire world, deprived from the most basic humanitarian needs, elderly and disabled people who have no access to the medical necessities. I want to end by thanking every single one of you in this room. And I'm speaking here on behalf of all my friends back at home, all of our brothers and sisters in Israel. I want to thank you for all that you do, for all that you'll continue to do for Israel and its people at this moment. There's so many ways to act at this point, from donating to so many wonderful causes, supporting the refugees of the Gaza envelope, of the soldiers who are fighting to protect us and bring back our kidnapped, providing military aid, because this war is far from ending. We have over 150 brothers and sisters that need to come back home. And then we'll have to care for them for the rest of their lives. Thank you for standing here tonight and every night, together, united as one for Israel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על ביתנו התינוקת שמור אלי הטוב, על האש המבוערת, על המים החזקים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים, על כל
Tov, good evening. I'm Rabbi Leora Frankel from Larchmont Temple and a member of the Westchester Board of Rabbis Executive Committee. It's my honor to introduce someone this evening who I've long admired from afar, but who I'm delighted to have just sitting nearby this evening. A civil rights attorney by training, Amanda Burman has dedicated her career to the advancement and protection of the Jewish people and the Zionist community. In 2017, Burman founded the Zionists movement, an organization that seeks to empower and activate Zionists on the progressive left to stand proudly in social justice spaces as Jews and as Zionists. Amanda Burman writes on Jewish and civil rights issues across a variety of media outlets. No doubt you've read some of her posts. She's been the recipient of many prestigious awards in our Jewish community. And on a personal note, as a fellow feminist and Zionist, I am grateful for the way that you have helped create spaces for Jewish activists to embrace all the parts of our identity, to reject the false dichotomies, and to affirm that indeed we can fight for human rights and we can be Zionists. We can fight for women's rights and we can be Zionists. We can fight to dismantle systemic racism and we can be Zionists. So on behalf of our Westchester Board of Rabbis, on behalf of our Westchester Jewish community, I'm so delighted to welcome Amanda Burman this evening.
Wow, first of all, okay, I'm just too tall for basically anything. Anything Jewish, at least. Fancy WRT. Feels nice to smile. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much, WRT, for having me. What an impossible week. I've been in the belly of the beast fighting anti-Semitism for about 5 years. I knew how serious it was. I talked about it 18 hours a day, and I never expected this. It's really hard to express to people who are not Jewish how we feel. The vulnerability that Jews feel today is something that we haven't felt in almost 80 years. The largest attack on Jewish life since the gas chambers. And at the same time, American Jews are feeling extraordinarily lonely because the people that we've been in social justice spaces with, in allyship with, fighting for, are not showing up the way we might want them to. And this has been a problem, obviously, for a long time, which is why Zionists exist in the first place. But what I will say is that I've seen more support and more solidarity in the last week than I had seen in the 5 years before that. There are people showing up now. Of course, the bar is pretty low, right? The worst depravity we could ever imagine. It shouldn't be hard. We shouldn't have to ask or expect that we would have to ask or request solidarity, but it is there. What I think I see more than the hatred that we do see, I see a lot of fear. I see a lot of silence. I see a lot of people afraid that if they say anything, they're going to get canceled, they're going to get attacked, and they have good reason to think that, because when you go on social media and say you care about Jewish life, you are demonized. Anti-Zionism, the name of the game in a lot of progressive spaces. But what is anti-Zionism? We're seeing it. And what I think is so heartbreaking is that for so many years I've been talking to people who claim to be anti-Zionist who I think have really good intentions. They care about human rights. They care about social justice, equity, equality, freedom, liberation, and self-determination for a community that is undoubtedly facing oppression, the Palestinians, both at the hands of their own two governments, Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, and we can admit, at the hands of Israel. But anti-Zionism, even though it's said in the name of the Palestinians by people who have, as I said, good intentions and care about Palestinian freedom, as do I, is actually not about Palestinians. Doesn't do anything to support Palestinian humanity, infrastructure, schools, hospitals, or highways. It's about demonizing Jews. It's about destroying, by narrative, the connection of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, claiming that we are interlopers, colonizers, apartheid-loving, genocide-committing, bloodthirsty people. Do we recognize those tropes from history? And so when I talked for the last 5 years to people who claim anti-Zionism as part of their social justice commitment, I said to them, imagine that what you are advocating for was put into action. Could you stomach it if what you are advocating for took place and didn't result in the utopia that you've been hoping for? What if it happened? What if anti-Zionism were put into effect and it ended up in the slaughter of Jewish people? And a lot of the anti-Zionists that I know, who again, I will say it again, they are good people who believe that they are on the side of justice, they could not fathom the possibility that what they were imagining, this peaceful coexistence, would not come to pass if given the chance. And it's so painful. I want to be angry. I want to be furious. And of course, I am furious, but not at them, because it is so painful to watch them grapple with and process what anti-Zionism actually is. It is the belief that the Jewish people should be murdered, exterminated again for existing in the world with sovereignty, with systemic power, that our people should be able to exist in freedom, in charge of our own destiny, in a place that is for us, by us, not exclusively, but a majority. And so what I would say, what I've always said, and I believe more than ever now, is that the response to anti-Zionism is more Zionism. It is proud, passionate, unapologetic Zionism. It is our belief, thank you. It is our belief in the freedom of our own people. It is our remembrance of what we've been through over thousands of years. It is a progressive ideal, the original and most successful progressive decolonial movement in the history of the world, the return of an indigenous population to our ancestral home and the expulsion of the British colonial forces who were controlling the territory before we returned. That's what Zionism is. And Zionism is about us and us alone. It is not about anyone else. The geopolitical consequences of the manifestation of the Zionist dream in the state of Israel are for geopoliticians to solve, not for American Jews. And for us to hold Zionism as a core component of our Jewish identity honors our ancestors. It honors truth, history, Jewish peoplehood, faith, religion, and everything that we believe in as a people. Those of us who are involved in progressive activism, and I am every day, I believe in the liberation of women, of Black Americans, of LGBTQ people, of Indigenous people. I believe in social justice, freedom, and equality for every marginalized community on the planet. Those of us who do this work, those of us who are on campuses, those of us who are constantly told that we have to choose between our Zionism and our progressive values, we will say absolutely not. We will not submit. We will not submit to a false choice between our commitment to universal values, Jewish universal values, tikkun olam, being a light unto the nations, and Jewish particularism, Zionism, the needs of the Jewish people to survive and thrive in this evil world. We will not choose. And anyone who asks us to choose, anyone who celebrates the murder of innocent people, anyone who believes that it is acceptable what happened last weekend, anyone who believes that it is acceptable what has happened to Jewish people in this country who identify as Zionists over the past 50 years since 1975, when the Soviet Union sponsored a resolution at the UN calling Zionism racism and institutionalized anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, but anti-Zionism as part of the global left. Anyone who has allowed that, anyone who has protected that, anyone who has perpetuated that needs to look at the world and ask themselves whether it was worth it. And it is up to us now, to the Jewish people and our many allies, and they are out there. I promise you they are out there. I know we shouldn't have to request their solidarity, but when we do, when we support them in standing up instead of attacking them for not standing up, many of them, not all of them, but many of them will. And so right now, what I want us to do as a people is stand as proudly as we possibly can. Put on your Magen David, wear your IDF sweatshirt, show your solidarity with our brothers and sisters, our siblings in Israel who are on the front lines. Show them that we in the diaspora have a role to play. I always talk about the fact that I go into spaces, particularly with Israelis, but with American Jews also, and people say, you run an organization called Zionist. You are such a passionate Zionist. Why don't you make Aliyah? Don't you want to live the Zionist dream in the Jewish state? And my answer is that as much as I love Israel, and I love Israel with my whole heart, we need Jews everywhere outside of Israel to tell the Jewish story. We need people, emissaries of our people, to talk about what Zionism is. It is freedom. What an inspiring, unbelievable miracle that after 2,000 years of violent exile, pogroms, persecution, and genocide, our ancestors came from the ashes of the gas chambers and built a modern state in our indigenous homeland. That is a story for the ages, but we have to tell it from every corner of the earth where we are. Because Israel can't tell its story by itself. Israel is busy living the Jewish life. We are the Jews who go out into the world and tell the world what Zionism is and what it means to us. And we, as painful as it is for us to watch what's happening there, and I know so many of us want to go there, want to be there, or maybe I'm only speaking for myself. I don't think so. It is so painful to watch what's happening and to feel so far away and to feel as hopeless as I think so many of us do, and I'm doing a lot, and I still feel totally worthless in this moment, like nothing that I do matters, but it does, because every time I show up in the world as a Zionist, I am showing people what Zionism is. I am humanizing the Zionist. I am reminding people that what they might have heard, what they might have internalized, an anti-Semitic trope about what a Zionist is, it's not, it's me, I'm a human being. And when they see me and they see I'm wearing a Zionist shirt, or I'm in an activist space talking about Zionism, or I'm fighting for my values as an American progressive and a Zionist, they ask, what is Zionism? I maybe have heard something different than what you might think it is. And we're able to tell the world what Zionism is that way. Keep in mind that American Jews are only 2% of the population of this country. Most people have never met a Jew before. It's hard for us to imagine, especially in this community where there's such incredible Jewish pride, but in much of America, and certainly much of the world, where we are only 0.2%, 1/5 of 1% of the population of the world, most people, the vast majority of people on this earth, have never met a living Jew. They know a lot about dead Jews, not so much about living ones. Zionism is the embodiment of the living Jew, and we will never abandon our Zionism. So if you are on campus, or you are in a progressive space, or you are just out in the world, and somebody tells you, you have to choose between your progressive and your Zionist identity, you have to answer for the Israeli government, you have to answer for the occupation or the conflict. The response is, no, I absolutely don't. I am a free Jew in this world that supports the freedom of Jews in Israel, in America, and everywhere else that Jews exist. I will not apologize to anyone for being a proud Jew, and I will not allow you to push me out of any space, anytime, anywhere, because of my Judaism. And my Zionism is intrinsic to my Judaism. It is inseparable. We are in a synagogue. If you open your prayer books, I don't know if they're out, but if you had one, you would see Zion, Jerusalem, and Israel on every page. Zionism is part of what it means to be a Jew. And it's not political. Being a Zionist doesn't make you right-wing. I am a progressive, I am a Zionist. The vast majority of our community holds social justice values and Zionism as core components of our identity. Being a Zionist does not mean you support the Israeli government. It does not mean you support the oppression of Palestinians or anyone else. It means you support the freedom of Jews, a long-enduring, oppressed minority community. That's what Zionism is. It is something we should be extraordinarily proud of. One thing I want to say, I hate talking about the conflict. I know, obviously, that's why we're here, but Hamas, well, I should say Israel, is not at war with the Palestinian people. Israel is at war with Hamas. Israel is at war only with Hamas. Hamas is not only at war with Israel. It is at war with the Jewish people and all civilized human beings everywhere, all human beings of conscience. As progressives, we believe that liberation will happen all together. Zionism is a great start. But Hamas is a threat not just to Israelis, not just to Palestinians, although it certainly is a threat to Palestinians. It is a threat to all of humanity. And when Hamas is eradicated, the world will be a safer place. I think the only thing for me to leave you with is that I hope you will walk out of here and shout your Zionism. I hope you will tell everyone everywhere you go that you are the proudest Zionist in the world, because you know what Zionism has meant, the miracle that it is, the improbability of Jewish freedom in 2023, the number of empires that have fallen in an attempt to exterminate the Jewish people and failed. What an unbelievable opportunity for us to be alive in a moment where we got to defend our people yet again from an existential threat. We will survive. The Jewish people live. Am Yisrael Chai.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Groper. I'm the Rabbi Community Synagogue of Rye. But from 1996 to 1998, I was the rabbinic intern here at Westchester Reformed Temple. We got to lower this thing. I know it's built for Rick, but it's not his house anymore. It's yours. We just got word that our county legislator, George Latimer, is here with us this evening. Clearly, he needs no introduction. So, George, if you could come and just share a few brief remarks with us, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. I must tell you a quick story that is not in the mood of the evening, but I am Roman Catholic, and for 10 years I did the public relations for a community synagogue in Rye. I was the Shabbos Goy banging out press releases, running into the rabbi saying, "Rabbi, what is Simchat Torah?" He'd explain it to me, and I wrote the press release. "Rabbi, what is Esther's spiel?" He'd tell me, and I go out and I'd write the press release. but I stand with Israel as a Roman Catholic and as a Christian. And what the prior speaker said about Zionism, I agree with. And let me tell you why. First of all, from my limited spiritual knowledge, it is as sacred to my faith as it is to yours that Moses stood looking at the promised land and being told this was the land of milk and honey that he brought the Jews out of captivity to come to. That is as sacred to a Christian as it is to a Jew. It was the Jewish state of Israel that allowed me as a Christian to have access to those holy places in Israel that are sacred to me as a Christian. I could not stand on the Mount of the Beatitudes where Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor, blessed are the meek," until the Israelis controlled that land. It was closed to the rest of us. When I hear people tell me that, some people will assert that Israel is a racist, exclusionary state, I ask myself, and I'm straight, if I were LGBTQ, would I rather be in Tel Aviv or Tehran? And on one of my trips to Israel, when I saw Ethiopian Jews, African Ethiopian Jews, welcomed into the community at Carmel and in Haifa, don't tell me that Israel's a racist state. Don't tell me that. Not right. We have some tough days ahead, and I think we have to be candid about it. As in the geopolitical world, the Israeli army moves into Gaza, we're going to see some bad scenes on television, and they're going to be spread worldwide. But it doesn't shake my faith that what Israel will be doing is defensive action to protect themselves from an entity that wants to wipe them off of the face of the earth. And I know that if Hamas were to ever succeed, they would come after the Christians, they'd come after the United States of America, they'd come after Western Europe, because we all stand against Hamas because we believe in the freedom of religion. We believe in freedom of speech. We believe in freedom of thought. They don't believe that. They believe in some 7th century concept by which we all subordinate who we are as individuals. Your faith and my faith doesn't believe in that. And that's why I stand with you, and I always will. God bless you. Together we rise.
I'm Rabbi Les Bronstein from Beit Am Shalom in White Plains. And I send up a prayer of gratitude that I'm not speaking after Amanda Burman and George Latimer. Only offering a prayer more in my zone of comfort. But another prayer of gratitude is that I am grateful to live in the same world as those people and to hear their message and to be comforted by it. And I say to you, Amanda, as a progressive rabbi who works as a Jew for human rights and social justice, and whose blood runs blue and white, I'm grateful that you came here to plant that message in the ears of this collective group. Thank you for being here and doing that. A prayer as we hold in our hearts, excuse me, those abducted Israelis and military personnel, and all of it abducted. We hold them in our hearts. This prayer is by, our dear colleague, Rabbi Ofer Sabbath Beit Halachmi of Tzur Hadassah and now of Baltimore, translated by his dear wife, our wonderful colleague, Rabbi Dr. Rachel Sabbath Beit Halachmi. Eloheinu, matir ha'asurim, misgav ladach, misgav li'itot batzara, shlach hatzala shlema, ופדיון גמור לנתונים בשבי אויב. Our God, the one who raised up Joseph from the pit to be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in time of trouble, one who blesses our fathers, our mothers, and our warriors, Joshua, Yoav, David, Devorah, Yael, Judith. Send complete rescue and full redemption to those held captive by the enemy, soldiers, men, women, children, elderly. Chaski rucham, havir lahem et tfilatenu l'shomram mira. Strengthen their spirit and bring them our prayers, that they may be protected from all harm. Tni bina balev oyev, lahashivam bishlemut guf vanefesh. Implant understanding in the heart of the enemy, that they may return our captives in wholeness of body and in spirit. Tni tevuna balo chamei tzahal, lachaltzam balo ibud nefashot. Grant wisdom to the Israel Defense Forces, that they may secure freedom for the captives without loss of life. Ten lechol b'nei uvenot Avraham, Sarah, veHagar, et oz haruach va'ometz halev, la'atir kivli shavi, v'lichyot chayei chirut. Grant strength of spirit and courage of heart to all the sons and daughters of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar, to release bonds of captivity and allow us all to live in freedom. Yikra'eni ve'enehu, imo anochi v'tzara, achatsehu ve'achabdehu. They shall call upon me, and I will answer them. I will be with them in their distress. I will rescue them, and I will honor them. V'nomar, and we say, Amen. Ken yehi ratzon. Ken yehi ratzon.
Please rise for Avinu Shebashamayim, a prayer for the state of Israel.
Sure.
Please be seated. We are honored to be joined tonight by a group of Israeli musicians who lift up the worship of a number of our local congregations, and I'd like to introduce them at this time. I'd like to introduce Kobe Hayon, who's playing bass this evening. Idan Sandhaus on flute. Nadav Smirzelniker on percussion. Nir Naaman on saxophone. Itamar Gov Ari on guitar. And they're joined this evening by WRT's pianist and conductor Pete Malinverni. We want to thank this group of musicians for being with us this evening, and we want you to know that all of our hearts are with you and with your loved ones. At this time, I would like to invite all of us to take a moment for our own private prayers for Israel. The prayers of our hearts will be accompanied by a song chosen by the band, entitled Shir Lelo Shem, a song without a name.
My name is Scott Wiener, and I am the rabbi at Tamid Westchester Synagogue. And it is my honor to be with all of you this evening, but particularly to introduce our next speaker, Mondaire Jones, former New York Congressman of the 17th District. A New Yorker born and raised across the river, but part of our Hudson Valley community. Then went to Stanford, worked in the Obama administration in the Justice Department, received his law degree from Harvard, and then he came here to serve the Southern District of New York as a law clerk, and then here in Westchester County in the law department before serving as a U.S. Congressman. Earlier, we heard from Amanda that it is possible to be both an advocate for justice and the Jewish people, that you can be an advocate for freedom all over the world and stand up for the state of Israel. Mr. Jones has been a friend to us and the state of Israel, and we welcome him and his friendship this evening.
I was going to ask. Thank you, you're too kind. This is fine. You know, it was already going to be hard enough to go after Amanda Burman. And then you got George Latimer up here, you got this incredible band. It is really humbling and meaningful beyond imagination to be here with you tonight. And of course, we all wish it were under different circumstances. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to share in this with you. Like all of you, I am devastated by the heinous attacks on the Israeli people over the past several days, attacks that continue, attacks that will continue, unfortunately, and attacks that would be unimaginable, I think, to many of us, especially the younger people here today, were we not privy to the video footage and the photographs and the witness interviews and the stories of our loved ones directly impacted. The actions by Hamas, by Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah are a category of evil I had read about growing up, but had hoped never to witness in my own lifetime. My heart goes out to every single person here and in Israel who has experienced loss during this tragedy that is unfolding. I stand in solidarity with the Israeli people and our Jewish brothers and sisters, both here in America and the world over. It is beautiful to see all of you here tonight, and it is encouraging, and I know that many of us feel that. To be here in solidarity, I want you to know that I am with you always, always. I am not Israeli or Jewish. I would not pretend to know precisely how you are feeling tonight, the sorrow and the anger. I will tell you that I am a better person and became a better congressman because of my visit to Israel in November of 2021. It was the most educational experience of any trip I have ever been on. And my sister, who I brought with me, she feels the same way. We've been talking about it since for the past 2 years. And we've been talking about it all week. For several days, I glimpsed and got to experience that palpable anxiety that people in Israel live every single day, not just along the border of the Gaza Strip, but throughout. I have been to the Iron Dome facility in Sderot. just miles away from the Gaza border. I spent time at Zakim, a kibbutz that was not far away. And that exemplifies the principles of equality and communalism that Amanda spoke to earlier, and that the Jewish state of Israel was founded upon. Let us remind people of that, especially now, given the misinformation that's been put out. And of course, I had the chance to visit, as I know many of you have, and to pray and to learn at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. America has a profoundly important role to play in supporting Israel. Make no mistake about that. I was happy to see President Biden last night reaffirm our commitment to our greatest ally in the world. And in Congress, I was proud to vote for funding for Iron Dome and to support normalization My strong desire is for Congress today to end the chaos that we are seeing and to mobilize in support of Israel with whatever it needs in this moment. The story of the Jewish people over millennia is the story of triumph over adversity. In the face of unspeakable horror, the Jewish people have responded with resilience, hope, and strength. And as a Black American, I feel a kinship with you. And I extend my hand in solidarity. I am reminded of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s expression of solidarity to the American Jewish Congress in 1958. He said these words: "My people were brought to America in chains. Your people were driven here to escape the chains fashioned for them in Europe. Our unity is born of our common struggle for centuries, not only to rid ourselves of bondage, but to make oppression of any people by others an impossibility." I know that I speak for all of our non-Jewish neighbors here tonight when I say that we stand with you and that we stand with the Israeli people. We must reject terrorism. We must reject hate, and we must never lose sight of peace, the goal that has guided us since the founding of Israel. Thank you so much, and I am with you always.
There's a section in the Talmud in which the rabbis ponder what it is that God does all day. And after a long list of preparatory moments, including God rising in the morning and putting on God's tefillin and praying the morning prayers as we do here on earth, God takes off God's tefillin, sits on the heavenly throne, and spends the rest of his day tending to the children who have predeceased their parents. Hundreds of children have predeceased their parents this week. It is this image of God consoling them and counseling them and sheltering them until their parents arrive at their timely demise. It is hearkened in the prayer of El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer of the Jewish people, which asks God to take the souls of our departed and hold them close under God's wing, as close to God as is humanly possible. May their souls be bound up with God We invite back to the pulpit Cantor Kleinman and Rabbi Jeffrey Brown to lead us in the memorial prayer. Please rise.
El male rachamim, shochen bamromim, hametzei menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim utehorim, kezohar haraki hamazhirim, lenishem yakirinu, shehalchu leolamam, ba'al harachamim, yastirem beseter kenafav leolamim, veitzurur, bitzurur, hachayim et nishmatam, Adonai hu nachalatam, ve'yanuchu v'shalom, b'shalom al mishkavam, v'nomar Amen.
Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace. And together we say,
Amen.
Friends, my name is Reverend Kelly Huff Rogers. I am the senior minister of the Scarsdale Congregational Church, and I'm honored to be here tonight, not only to be with you in prayer, but to remind you that you are not alone. Yes, have a seat. Not a bad idea. You are not alone. One thing that I admire so much about the Jewish faith is that you never fully end mourning. You are continually in a state of remembrance. But because of time, the mourning process might change. And we gather tonight not just to mourn the lost lives, but to celebrate life itself. We remember the past, but we note how the past informs our present and our future. And we have gathered in this space to find peace. Each word spoken and each piece of music offered has provided us with comfort. But we remain fearful and we mourn. But we pray that we can take the peace that we have found here back out into the world with us. And we raise our voices in unity, echoing the divine message of peace and love for all of humanity, and advocate for the cessation of all violence and terrorism that brings harm to our siblings in Israel, to all Israeli civilians. We unequivocally condemn acts that target civilians. We implore our political leaders and authorities to engage in sincere dialogue, seeking lasting solutions that promote justice and peace and reconciliation for a people who have endured the burden of hate for far too long. We pray for those who have been killed and injured, or who are searching for loved ones, or who are struggling with grief and fear. And we pray that there is a de-escalation and that the root causes of all violence and oppression may be confronted and challenged so that a new understanding of peace can prevail. The commitment to tikkun olam, to a better world, to the dignity of each human being is all of our work. It's not just some of our work. And for those who do not stand on your side, I apologize for their lack of courage and their lack of inspiration. But let us gathered here be the peacemakers that the world so aches for. And by being peacemakers, let us find the peace that we long for. So let us go in peace and make peace and be at peace. Amen.
I'd like to invite all of our clergy colleagues of all faiths, you can join us on the bima, and just deepest gratitude to you, our community, to Elliot Forsheimer of the Westchester Jewish Council for the boundless support that our umbrella organization provides this community, this Jewish community of Westchester, each and every day. And to all who have participated in this night of prayer, solidarity, it has been immensely strengthening for me, and I know I speak for all of you. Will the congregation please rise as we sing together? Am Yisrael Chai, Erev Tov.
standing there saying, I'm not crying. I'm not going to cry. I kept on saying to myself, I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
And
but it's like, this is the space. This is the spot.
I'm here in this place.
I'm here, right
Impossible.
here. Right.
Impossible. Right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
No, I was looking for Jason.
You don't look for the entrance. He looks for the entrance.
Yes, I do.
This man only comes in. He never asks. This man never ever does it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
I didn't show up for the rehearsal, but I after I can. I've been back to there. Sounds good. So I'm ready to get around the corner. It was good. Do you want to say I do a minute or two? I'll do that.
We haven't done much, and like
like week and a half. I've been trying to figure it out. And like, I had to reset the whole rig basically. Very sketchy. I was very unconfident in my ability to make a difference. I gotta be honest with you, and it did make a difference, so I felt good about that. But I was just like, damn. You know, just like, I don't know, like being that like I see stuff, like, you know, I don't want to like break something that's like not gonna be fixable, you know. Or like worse, just like have something not work. You know what I mean? But right before this event, it was so bad. So like I was just like really concerned that like it was gonna be good, you know. And I think luck is on our side.
Yeah. That was like me with that extra shot.